longer just the downfall of the U.S. economy in focus. It is the world these days in a recessionary period. Andy Serwer, managing editor of Fortune magazine, here to break it down for us. The first time in 16 years that we've seen a contraction in growth in Britain. What do you make of it?
Well, wouldn't we like to say, Poppy, that, it's just England and no other country is going to follow suit. Unfortunately, the chances are very good, of course, that other countries will see a contraction in their economy. We haven't seen that yet, but you have to think it's just a matter of time. One interesting point here, and much has been made about the connectivity in the global economy and how all the different countries are connected in their capital markets. That is absolutely true. But it actually goes back to something that has to do with the housing market and the collapse of subprime and all those crazy derivatives we've been talking about for all these weeks now. Because bankers here in the United States and in Europe thought that by selling loans to other institutions around the globe, they're lessening risk. And that may have been true for their particular institution. But what they were doing was greatly increasing the risk, on a global level by spreading all these derivatives around the world and connecting them. You know how the ABSs are connected to CDOs, and it's a real mesh, a matrix of securities. So instead of actually making risk less, they heightened it.
We've also seen currencies around the world in focus. The dollar gaining ground, the euro and the pound losing ground rapidly, and then the yen spiking. Any sort of explanation for what that means?
Well, it's hard to imagine. Yeah, what's going on a little bit is there's a flight to safety with the dollar because actually European banks are in worse shape and the European economies might be in worse shape. And we've seen, of course, here when you're just talking about the UK, the situation there. So that's why we're seeing the dollar really appreciating against the euro. On the yen side, it's a little bit esoteric, but here's what's going on. A lot of investments, third world emerging market investments in Asia are made in yen. And so those are being sold out right now. And so there's a flight to quality to the yen right now, which is making it go up versus the dollar. A little bit out there. Emerging markets, something really to watch now, though, Poppy, because not only do you have Iceland really at the brink, but also Hungary and other countries Argentina are looking for loans and bailouts from the IMF and in discussion with central bankers.
Russia closing the market on, on a near daily basis.
Drop of a hat.
Yeah, at the
things
top
are bad,
of
we'll close down the markets. I mean, and you have to wonder what it's going to do to long-term confidence in a market like that. I mean, do you really want your money in a market that will just close down when things get a little dicey? I mean, that's tough.
All right, finally, what can be done anywhere around the world? What can the U.S. do to soften this blow?
Well, actually, can I talk about investing a little bit right now? Because that's really important and it's sort of front and center. People are talking about, well, you should be buying right now. This is a tremendous buying opportunity. And I think it probably will be maybe 10 years down the road. I mean, you have to be very, very patient. So 2 points I want to make. One, if you are buying, don't think you're going to get a pop over the next 6 months. You might because of the election, but you might not. And number two, you should really be wary of just going in and, selling the farm to load up on Citibank right now. I mean, on one day like that, because you're going to feel terrible because Citibank might go down another 10, 20, 30%. I have no idea, of course. Dollar cost averaging right now. If you're really disciplined and you really feel like this is a great time to buy, and it might be if you 10 years out, but to just put money in every day, that way you won't feel so terrible just by making one big shot investment, which will, conceivably look bad in a week or something like that.
All right, sound advice taken from a man that knows quite a lot about this. Andy, appreciate your time.